You are listening to Deep Dive Divas, episode 055, the Mars Volta. Please follow us online and review the program using the links in this episode's show notes, you coward.
It's now time for everyone's favorite game, with Twilight Ask My Guide. I have purchased a Ouija board from Amazon.com for $8.96 after using my remaining Amazon points towards the purchase. Sarah?
Yeah.
You are going to compete in a quiz of knowledge about the Twilight series against the board. Owen and I will act as the conduits for the spirits. I will ask 5 questions. The player who answers the most of these questions correctly will win, as in either you or the spirit.
Okay.
If you should successfully defeat the board, it will be set ablaze in the backyard of my house.
Nice.
If the board manages to win, you must keep it, which is terrible, as not only will you own a haunted Ouija board, but you will also own a haunted Ouija board that knows a lot about the Twilight series.
Nice. I'll just add it to my collection.
Who's ready to play?
Me.
So for $8.96, this is about,
let me see.
about the quality you might expect.
Oh, that's pretty. Oh, I like that. Oh, I hope I win it. Oh, I like that planchette too.
What do we do?
You got good taste in Ouija boards.
Just hold on to it. And
Just like with our finger?
yeah, so I'm going to ask the question to the room and to the spirits at hand and to Sarah. There's 5 of them. Again, it's best out of 5. Question 1. Who is the author of the Twilight series? Is it A, Suzanne Collins, B, Stephen King, C, Stephanie Meyer, or D, Stefan Salvatore from the Vampire Diaries?
Can I say?
Yeah.
Stephanie Meyer.
Okay, let's see what the board has to say.
Oh, here it goes. Oh, the spirits don't seem to know.
Didn't think this one through. Huh?
So nothing's happening. Perhaps if we read the directions out loud, that will entice the spirit to come. Sit in a circle around the talking board with your friends.
See, that's... We
are in a triangle. I think we're doing the best. I think spirits are understanding. Have everyone place their index and middle fingers on the planchette and start asking yes or no questions. When you're finished, or when the spirit stops answering, say goodbye to end your Ouija session.
Okay, so we didn't ask it the question.
Yeah, it's not a yes or no question.
We didn't ask it any questions yet.
I bet the Ouija board was like,
They have
what?
suggestions like pick a quiet place to hold your seance, cleanse your space to remove negative energy, place your Ouija board on a table,
Oh, well,
burn
we got
some
that.
incense to set the mood. I don't know, man.
Well, I know it's Stephanie Meyer, so...
We don't really have time to calibrate this, so let's see one more time.
Should I put my fingers on it too?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Hasn't moved
You
a jot.
didn't ask the question, though.
The correct answer is C, Stephanie Meyer.
Wow.
Question 2. During their first date at Bella Italia, an Italian restaurant in Port Angeles, Washington, what does Bella Swan order for her entree?
You love this question.
Is it A?
This has come up between you and me about this specific dish.
Not just with you, Owen. I the only reason I know this answer is because Jake has repeatedly said it out of nowhere in passing.
I think it's the only thing you remember from Twilight.
Is it A, chicken parmesan, B, mushroom ravioli, C, fettuccine alfredo, or D, nothing?
Mushroom ravioli, for Christ's sake.
Okay, we all got to bring all that into it.
You have to ask it the question.
During their first date at Bella Italia, an Italian restaurant in Port Angeles, Washington, what does Bella Swan order for her entree? Is it A, chicken parmesan, B, mushroom ravioli, C, fettuccine alfredo, or D, nothing? This thing's not budging, dude. All right. Question 3.
Wait, did I get it right?
You did, yes.
Yay.
Mushroom ravioli. Everyone knows that. Question 3. How old was Edward Cullen when he became a vampire? Was he A, 23 years old, B, 10 years old, C, 32 years old, or D, 17 years old?
Oh, shit. Probably 17, although 23 sounds right. But I'm going to say 17. Final answer.
D, final answer. Owen? Let us call upon the spirits to answer that same question. The correct answer is D.
Thank God.
Dr. Carlisle Cullen made him a vampire to save him from dying of the Spanish influenza in 1918.
Have you guys ever had like a successful Ouija board experience? Like, where it
No.
actually moved?
I don't really mess with Ouija boards on a serious level.
This is my first attempt, and I can't say it's going well.
This is what you get for your money.
Question 4! You think if I paid more money, it would come with more spirits
Yeah.
attached? What is Bella Swan's blood type?
Oh, shit. I don't know this one.
Is it A, O positive, B, A negative, C, B positive, or D, AB positive?
I'm going to say A, O positive.
Okay. The correct answer is A,
Are you
O
serious?
positive.
I am on fire.
You are. Edward describes Bella's blood as, quote, sweet and, quote, like a drug.
I don't even like these books.
Question 5. What does Jacob give Bella as a graduation gift as she matriculated at Forks High School? Was it A, a wooden stake, B, his fangs, C, a bracelet with a hand-carved wolf charm, or D, someone else's fangs?
Probably the bracelet.
A bracelet with a hand-carved wolf charm? Let's see what Ouija board has to say about this.
Isn't this the guy that killed that CEO? Ouija Mangione.
The correct answer is C, a bracelet with a hand-carved wolf charm. Sarah,
Perfect score.
for someone who claims to not like this book.
Books.
Sorry, for someone who claims to not like this books.
No, they're cool. I mean, I liked them when I was in 8th grade a lot. Except for the
So
second
you
one.
went from saying you don't like this books to now you used to like this books a lot.
In 8th grade, yeah. Except for the second one. I didn't like the second one. It has a lot of typos in it.
Did you like the character development?
No, I don't like the second one for many reasons.
Okay, I was going to light this on fire, but you can keep it if you want.
Yeah,
it.
no, don't light it on fire. It's really pretty.
Okay.
I'll bring it home and my parents will be upset.
This is Deep Dive Divas. Each episode, Owen, myself, and a guest diva listen to every blessed studio album by an artist of their choosing and share our findings with you.
Last night I remember what you slipped in my glass.
Our guest today is Sarah. Sarah was our guest back on our Cab Calloway episode last season. She is a music therapist, musician, performer of all sorts, and a wonderful cat mom. You can and should check out her work using the links in this episode's show notes.
The Mars Volta are a band from the 2000s. They have 8 studio albums. They are a Grammy Award-winning band who has reached RIAA Gold status and have influenced a whole generation of music dorks. Sarah, why do you choose the Mars Volta?
Well, one of these albums, which I'm not going to say which one yet, but one of these albums is one of my favorite albums ever. I love this album so much, but I haven't done a deep dive into the rest of their discography.
How were you first exposed to this album?
How was I first exposed to this album specifically, or the band?
Yes.
One of my friends sang it at a show a long,
whole
long
album?
time ago. No, he sang it with this old defunct band called Left of Logic, and it was my 21st birthday, and they covered the song Goliath,
Okay.
and I was like, what is this? This is crazy.
Follow me back, if you will, to the year 1994. Everyone's watching Home Alone and wearing acid wash jeans.
I was 2.
You were as well. We get it.
No.
We're going down to old El Paso way. That's in Texas, where a musical act called At the Drive-In forms. They put out 3 records before breaking up for a good long while in 2000. That band was made up of, at its core, one Cedric Bixler Zavala as the vocalist, and Omar Rodriguez Lopez, as well as Jim Ward on guitars and vocals, and one Tony Hajar on drums, and Paul Hinojos on bass. When the band split up, the other 3 start a band called Sparta, whereas the gentlemen we're going to be following for the next 17 hours, Cedric and Omar, well, they do something completely different. At the Drive-In was at the height of their popularity when they broke up, and much has been made as to why that happened. The band themselves seems to agree on exhaustion and the meteoric rise to prominence. They kind of were just nobody and toiling in the mud for a while, and then kind of overnight really blew up. They also said creative differences led to that, which is, classic. Other band members say that Cedric and Omar's drug use was a factor. Specifically those 2. So now they're alone. While still in At the Drive-In, Omar and Cedric started a side project called De Facto, along with Jeremy Ward. If you go back about 20 seconds, I mentioned that one of the founders of At the Drive-In was Jim Ward. Jeremy Ward is his cousin, and that guy's singing. He's also playing a little bit of guitar, but he is mostly doing something called vocal modulation, where he is messing with Cedric's vocals as Cedric sings and putting various loopers and delays and effects on them. They also have a gentleman named Isaiah Owens, who goes by the name Ike, on keyboards. In 2001, De Facto put out 2 albums and 2 EPs just in that year alone. The albums Megathon Shot Last and Legend du Scorpion Aquata Q's. I'm exhausted. These guys exhaust me.
I was going to say, wait till you hear all the, like, we're just saying all the names of these songs as we go through them.
The name of their EPs, which we'll never talk about on the show, but their EPs are titled, respectively, 456132015, and the other one is How Do You Dub You Fight for Dub You Plug Dub In.
Cool.
That band De Facto then gets a bassist in the form of a young lady named Ava Gardner. And this is where we get the band, the Mars Volta. From there, you have a slew of other contributors, 21 by my count. 21 different members over these years. Wow. Which includes the 4 other current members of the band. So I guess 17. 2002, a year after forming, they put out an EP, which we will not discuss. We are a podcast that listens to every blessed studio album by an artist of our guest choosing. But that EP is called Tremulant. If I were to elaborate about this EP, I would mention that it features a lineup consisting of course, Omar and Cedric forever, but also Ava Gardner, who's still in the band today, as of recording in 2025.
Oh.
Did she stay through?
No.
Yeah.
No, but she leaves and comes back. So Ava Gardner, in her storied career, has played for legends such as Cher, Pink, and Gwen Stefani, amongst many, many others.
Nice.
Back to the lineup. Isaiah Ike Owens, who I'd mentioned before, plays on keys. He spends much of his later career with Jack White, specifically on Jack White's Blunderbuss and Lazaretto albums. They have a guy named John Theodore on drums. He's been drumming for Queens of the Stone Age for over a decade now. And Jeremy Ward on sound manipulation.
Sound manipulation.
And of course, Omar and Cedric go back to playing guitar and singing respectively. The band starts playing out live in far smaller clubs and venues than At the Drive-In had been accustomed to. This seemed to invigorate Cedric and Omar. They really seemed to like playing in these small clubs. And Cedric and Omar, probably, as a consequence of also being fueled by a lot of different drugs, they go buck wild at these live shows, and that really helps them cultivate a fan base. And Ava Gardner quits the band just before they go into the studio to record their debut record, Deloused in the Comatorium. In her stead comes Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He records in Deloused of... Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As we're going to
Whoa.
see, there is a massive abundance of Red Hot Chili Peppers crossover with the Mars Volta.
Almost too much.
So Flea, I would say any is too much. John Frusciante also jumps in on the Cicatriz ESP song, playing synth guitar and singing a bit. Cicatriz in both Spanish and I believe Portuguese means scar.
Do you want something to be done about the sun in your eyes?
No, it'll go away.
I mean, you're not wrong. Okay.
In 2003, thank you very much for your concern. In 2003, the band's first album, Deloused in the Comatorium, comes out on June 24th. Virgo season, am I right? It's probably not.
It's not.
Its lyrics were inspired by a friend of the band, one Julio Venegas. Julio Venegas was also from El Paso, Texas. He was a musician who played bass guitar, but he was also a poet and a painter. His mother passed away, and he attempted to end his own life with morphine. This is a very sad story. I should have prefaced this all. I'm sorry. Instead, he did not die from the morphine overdose attempt. Instead, he entered a coma, which he would awake from, but he lost the use of the right side of his body. The lyrics from this album center around this event and what they imagine Julio experienced in his coma. They changed his name to Serpin Taxt. That's CERPIN space TAXT. Omar said in an interview with LA Weekly that he also mixed together chemicals, as in Julio mixed together various chemicals, possibly including rat poison, and shot it into his veins, which, quote, shriveled up his arm. So he's lost the use of one side of his body and has kind of permanently altered one of his arms. It is unclear if this was before or after the morphine suicide attempt. Julio eventually did commit suicide, jumping into traffic from an overpass in 1996. If you're listening and considering ending your own life, the world is better with you in it, and you can and should speak to someone at any time of day by calling or texting the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at its new number 988 on your telephone, or chat with a live representative on the Suicide Hotline's website. Barring this or another hotline, contact your country's emergency service provider. I am so sorry that the dogs are being horrible at this exact moment. They've been completely silent the entirety of this
They
episode.
agree.
up until now.
They're very
They
passionate
adamantly
about what you're
want
saying.
you to reach out for help. This album was produced by Rick Rubin and recorded in his mansion. And in an interview with the Aquarian Weekly, the band expressed their discontentment with that fact.
Why?
Cedric said, well, I'm going to tell you why. Cedric said, quote, Rick really oversimplified some of the parts that we thought were unique and just made them very digestible. He's got this thing about representing the common man's ears. I'd rather jab the common man's ears. If we don't, we'll never get to a place where future music exists.
Okay.
The album cover was done by Storm Thorgerson, who did a bunch of Pink Floyd's album covers.
Oh, get out. That's cool.
It's do you guys want to describe the album cover? It's kind of a wild one.
Golden head.
I would say of a larger man.
Yeah. On a plate? Question mark? Or it's like coming out of some sort of table.
Yeah, he's kind of like
His
open his
Yeah.
mouth is open, and there's
a beam
kind
of light.
yeah, and then there's a person in the background holding almost what looks like a waitress, I would say.
I
And like
never
a
saw the
very-
person in the
A
background.
very gold-looking, color-graded house.
Huh.
It's pretty cool. They got some neat album covers.
There are 10 songs on this album. 6 of them are over 6 minutes long.
It's not as bad as it gets.
I knew the Mars Volta's later work exclusively. So I did not know what I was getting into when we started this. And I was surprised at how soft and atmospheric a lot of this is. I was expecting it to be much more hard and aggressive. Nothing really grabbed me about this album. I didn't think it was bad. It was just kind of bland to me. There are moments I like in most songs, but they go on for way, way too long in many cases. I struggle with anything over like 20 seconds. You know, I'm a TikTok generation guy, you know. Zoomer over here.
No, you're not.
I thought Televators was a really nice change up, and it showed their range. This Apparatus Must Be Unearthed was almost my Yummy Yummy song.
Wow.
It definitely takes me back to the sound of that time in rock music and the choruses. And it gets pretty weird in the verses, and I really like it.
This is my favorite Mars Volta album.
Wow.
Yeah, I just thought it was the most interesting. The first 3 songs are an amazing run. When I first started doing this, I loved the first 3 songs so much. It took me so long to get through the whole album because I would keep replaying them. Yeah, I'd say Roulette Dares is my Yummy Yummy song. I love it. I just think it's so interesting. A lyric from Roulette Dares. This is also the lyric of the episode. Album's packed with gems. Made its way through the tracks of a snail slouching whisper. Half-ass commute through umbilical blisters. Spectre will lurk, radar has gathered. Midnight nooses from boxcar cadavers. That's just a real tongue twister. John Theodore is a monster in the best way.
Ooh, I'm scared.
He's a ghoul.
Ooh.
Yeah, his drumming is insane.
Yeah, for sure.
I've tried to play a couple of the 3 songs on this, the first 3 songs on this album, and let's just say it's difficult. Yeah, I give this an 8.7.
Whoa.
I love this
Wow.
album a lot. My parents love this album.
And you
A
love your
lot.
parents.
I love my parents. And they've seen Mars Volta live. And they said it was awesome.
Cool.
They gave me like a Shaka sign. And they said, it was rad. And I said, I've had to watch my little sister for the past 7 hours.
Where have you been?
Yeah, where have you been?
You didn't write, you didn't call, you didn't leave a note.
And this was when I was 7.
Yeah.
And they said, chillax, dude.
Yeah, come on.
Anyway, what do you think of the album?
Well, first off, I wish that I had the time to listen to this album multiple times in a row because I try to listen to it all in order and now I kind of forget a lot of these songs, which is a bummer. But I remember thinking, well, let me look at my notes actually. I wrote, it's a good sound and a foreshadowing of what's to come. I also wrote that.
Ominous.
Yeah, I'm glad that I wrote that. I'm glad they didn't stay here and kept going up, which is funny because now that I've listened to all these albums, I'm not sure I agree that all of the albums are better than this one. Oh, and I feel like you and I sometimes have opposite opinions on things, which I really like.
Politics.
I remember our Cab Calloway episode, like a lot of things you loved, I didn't like, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. I did not like Roulette Dares. I specifically wrote that in my notes. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't.
You just don't like that Owen likes it?
Yeah, I could feel that you liked
like
it.
She's gaining access to my Google Docs.
For sure.
Have you been hacking into our Google Doc?
Nope. I will say that now this isn't just a Mars Volta thing. Is a general rule of music. I'm not a big fan of unnecessarily long outros in songs. And I'm also not really a fan of unnecessarily long intros. And I'm also not entirely a big fan of unnecessarily long mid-tros. And I love the Mars Volta, but they seem to do a lot of all of these things, especially the long outros. And that's okay. Like, I can overlook that sometimes. I like the Louse in the Comatorium. I'm not sure what I would rate it. There's like a few songs, like 1 or 2, that I would probably listen to again, but I'm not really reaching for that album very much. So like maybe like a 4 that I liked. Oh boy. Inertiactic, Esp.
They're terrible. They are terrible. The Mars Volta head out on tour with a little side project of Flea and John Frusciante called the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And we did a whole episode about those boys several years ago and expressed nothing but love for them.
Yeah, okay.
Sound manipulator Jeremy Ward overdosed on heroin on May 25th, a month before the album was released, this first album that we've just reviewed.
Jeez.
While the band was still on tour, he was 27 years old. Since his death, Cedric and Omar have said that his death motivated them to get clean. They were predominantly using opioids at this time. This album did super well with the critics and sold really well despite limited promotion, which shocked the hell out of the record label. Rolling Stone named Drunken Ship of Lanterns the 91st best guitar song of all time.
Yeah, that is a good song.
They also put out a storybook version of this album. 2005, Jeremy Ward, in addition to manipulating sound, also worked as a repossession man. If you're not familiar with what that is, basically the bank has the legal right to, if you have taken out a loan to purchase an asset or something of the sort, if you become delinquent and no longer pay back that asset, they can just take that asset from you. So if you take out a loan to buy a car and you don't pay any money on that loan, they can just take your car.
Or like Repo the Genetic Opera, where if you don't pay the money on the organs that you borrow because there's a society where, post-apocalyptic society where all your organs fail, these people come and slice you open and take your organs out while you're still alive.
So Jeremy Ward, the gentleman who we just discussed who overdosed,
Yeah.
was, prior to his death, a repo man. And he was one day reclaiming a car when he found a diary inside of it and did the noble thing. He went straight to his bandmates and gave them this diary. The lyrics for their next record, by and large, come from this diary.
That is wild.
That's awesome.
If this diary is to be believed and really existed, it details its author looking for their birth parents, as the author was likely adopted. It also details struggles with mental illness following the death of someone close to them. Omar is the producer of this record, and he will produce pretty much every Mars Volta album from here on out. He didn't allow the band members to hear what others were playing and made them record in isolation. Quote,
That sucks.
"We'll sit there and play it forever and slow, real slow, to understand what's happening. Then, once we understand the part, everyone's free to elaborate."
That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, you're not alone. A lot of people have a very hard time with this, including Ike Owens, the keyboard player.
Yeah.
He was miserable. He absolutely hated this.
Yeah.
But some people really liked it. He sat, for example, with John Theodore, the drummer, first to do the drum parts. Then he would basically tell the other band members whether what they were doing was right or wrong. Their bassist, Juan Alderte, really loved doing that. Juan Alderte is the person who takes over on bass after Flea's not going to be in the band forever. So Juan Alderte takes over on bass, and he will be with them for a really long time. In addition to working with the Mars Volta, he is also the bassist for Marilyn Manson.
Oh, how about that?
Omar's younger brother, Marcel, also joins the band on keyboards and percussion. He's still in the band today and really never left. They bring on Adrian Terrazas Gonzalez for flute and saxophone, in addition to some other woodwind instruments. This album, boy, that really got me, also has the most guest instrumentalists out of any of their records so far. Flea plays trumpet on The Widow. And Miranda, that ghost just isn't holy anymore. John Frusciante comes back to play guitar on La Via Vasquez. Salsa legend Larry Harlow plays piano on that track as well. And Omar had to go to Puerto Rico to record the part. He said, "I'll play, but you have to come to me to record it."
Nice.
And
That's the way to
Omar
do it.
said this was, quote, "a childhood dream come true," as he was a big, big fan. There's basically a whole orchestra on the Cassandra Gemini section, conducted and arranged by David Campbell, who did the music for Brokeback Mountain and Dreamgirls, and almost 500 gold or platinum selling artists, ranging from Metallica to Beck, who is his son.
Oh,
That's right. The guy,
Really?
the guy who orchestrated the orchestra on the Mars Volta's second album is Beck's dad.
That's interesting.
we saw Beck.
We did.
Wait, really? When did you guys see Beck?
We did.
When we saw Phoenix.
We saw Phoenix and Beck.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Who did you like
Yeah,
better,
this-
Phoenix or Beck?
Phoenix.
Oh,
Phoenix was awesome.
Phoenix was awesome. Yeah, probably Phoenix. But Beck was cool too.
Beck had this one song called like
Wow.
That must have been new. It was one of the corniest performances I've ever seen.
Aw.
It was great.
It had like this screen and it was like, wow, I guess times are changing. Wow.
that sounds dope.
And we left during that song. But yeah.
we did.
Really?
It was a school night, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I had school in the morning. I was like,
that's
peace
cool.
out,
He had to
Beck.
mind his studies. He said, Beck, he went up on the stage.
Yeah.
He crawled on the stage. He gestured to Beck and said, bring me up, bring me up. And Beck was like, all right, we got a guest from the audience. Come on up. And they brought Owen up. And Owen grabbed the mic and said, dude, I got school in the morning.
You know what he said? Wow.
You know who was the cheesiest performer I've ever seen? Who it was a shock a shock.
Oh, is it Shaka Khan?
No, it was not.
It was just her birthday the other day. Happy birthday, Shaka Khan.
Happy birthday, Shaka Khan.
Happy birthday, Shaka Khan. Happy birthday, Shaka Khan.
It was Jethro Tull.
Sitting on a park bench.
I love Jethro Tull, but it was like some rock album and they had like these really cheesy animations behind him. It was really wild.
Jethro, you've let yourself go.
Aqualung.
The second record, boy, we're an hour in, team. All right.
I've got school tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Wow.
The second record is called Francis the Mute.
I will say Francis the Mute has one of my favorite album covers.
Okay.
I think it's so eerie and
it's
so weird. Like it like I don't know. It looks like people are abducted, but they're like driving. I think
a cool, like, sort of a hostage scenario.
Yeah, and the colors are really striking.
I was looking at that album cover and I said, I hope that guy's not driving because he can't see.
He's got a bag over his head.
Is he driving? I actually forget.
He's in the driver's
He's got
seat.
his hand on the steering wheel. I think.
All right, he's driving. Yeah.
Yeah, that album covers rules.
Yeah, I
and
really love it.
Is frequently shown in music video for The Widow, which is disturbing.
This album was recorded in multiple studios, including in what Omar calls, quote, a shithole. Basically a warehouse with one little air conditioner on its last legs, awful wiring, and a console you couldn't rely on. So big difference from Rick Rubin's mansion. This album is 12 tracks long, though 2 of them are musical beds. Out of the 12, 5 of them are over 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
I would say both long intros, long outros, and I would add a third thing to that, long mid-track.
So I really liked this album though. I think Cygnus Vismund Cygnus is like one of the best Mars Volta songs. I think that if someone were like, I'm interested in the Mars Volta, but I've never heard anything by them, can you like send me a song to get a taste of what they're like? This would be the song to send.
Sure.
This song is so unbelievably good to me. Like front to back, so great. And the midtro is great. And the outro is great, even though it's long. I wrote that there is a Zeppelin moment on this album.
Oh, sorry, really quick. I'd just like to add that Cedric sounds really different on Cygnus. I think this is where he's really using his voice in a soulful kind of way. And I think it really works for him.
Yeah, I wrote that he has a Robert Plant's vocals on Whole Lotta Love. Yeah, and I start hearing the hooks that make their other stuff so good in this album. But Cygnus is definitely my favorite song. The Widow's fine. I'm just kind of sick of The Widow, to be honest. Because that seems to be like one of the songs that's like their accessible hits.
Yeah.
So when I worked on a radio station, the only Mars Volta song they had in their catalog was The Widow, and I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I wish there was more. But yeah, so that's how I feel about this album.
Miranda, that ghost just isn't holy anymore is my yuck icky song. I find it masturbatory. It's 4 minutes before the song even starts and another 4 of noodling at the end. This features 4 minutes.
Hates noodling.
I hate noodling too, to be fair.
I think this is noodling.
I think the Mars Volta doesn't often noodle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of their stuff is super intentional, but in an album coming up, I think there is a lot of noodling.
Yeah.
I also agree with you. I think that I've heard of this song a lot. Miranda That Ghost just isn't holy anymore. And I did not like it either. Nope.
Yeah. This song features 4 minutes of the Coqui frogs that Omar recorded while he was in Puerto Rico, which makes me like frogs more and him less.
This podcast stinks. It's all my fault.
The whole Cassandra Gemini suite is really impressive. And I don't care. There's loads of noodling here, especially on Famine Pulse. Cedric said that a member of the orchestra broke their bow during this section and that it's in the mix somewhere.
Oh, that's exciting. I have to listen to it and see if I can listen to it.
So the way you'll often see this broken down on streaming services is a whole slew of songs. That is not how they recorded it. It's a 32-minute and 32 seconds long song, the longest ever. But yeah, it's typically just broken up into 8 parts.
It's a 32-minute thong song. I'd pay to hear that.
If you get this album on vinyl, they created locked grooves on each side that will endlessly repeat a particular bar of music until you change it over to the next side. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I love when artists do that.
This album came out at number 4 on the Billboard 200. The record goes gold and is
Really?
to date their biggest commercial hit. Gold is selling how many copies?
500,000.
500,000. Very good.
I didn't know that this album got that kind of traction.
Oh, it did.
Wow.
Probably because of The
It
Widow,
did.
because you were playing it on the radio so much.
No, The Widow's a great song. Don't get me wrong. I'm just, I've heard it so many times.
And watch that music video. They're like eating brown sludge or something.
Yum.
Does that sweeten the pot for you?
It does.
Rolling Stone wrote of the album, quite positively, that it's, quote, a feverish and baroque search for self that conjures up the same majesty and gravity as Led Zeppelin 3 decades
No way. Are you
before.
serious?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were tapped right into that.
That's
Were
wild.
you ready for Rolling Stone in 2005?
We all know how I feel about Rolling Stone.
Big fan.
I hate
Do you
them.
guys-
Next.
Hold on. Sorry to intervene once again. You know me. You
Sorry, I was just so
the
excited that
Led
you were here.
Zeppelin, you guys know the Led Zeppelin song "No Quarter." This is my I have a good impression of. Wait, stop. Stop doing that. What is that?
No Quarter by
Sounds
Led
not
Zeppelin.
the song.
Who does a good who does a good no quarter cover for real? Is Tool.
Oh,
Whenever I
can see
had
that.
to take a dump at the at the radio station,
It sounds like Tool to me.
No, for real. Every time I had to poop during when I worked at the radio station, it was late, so I couldn't get anyone to cover for me. I would turn on Tool's live version of No Quarter, which was like 11 minutes long. That'd be my poop song. You know what? The other poop song would be Sickness.
Sure. It was at this time that Paul Hinojosa, the bassist of At the Drive-In, quit Sparta, the band that the rest of At the Drive-In made without Cedric and Omar, and he joins the Mars Volta on rhythm, guitar, and sound manipulation, taking over for the now deceased Jeremy Ward. They promoted this album by touring with System of a Down.
Oh.
That is... Nope.
Mega. Mega.
You wanted to. You wanted to. I do a good Joni Mitchell.
I don't. I genuinely don't want to hear that one. It's going to freak me out.
You gotta do it.
But you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Shrivel up.
After the tour, Omar went to Amsterdam and wrote most of what would become their next record. While he's there, he also wrote a bunch of solo material and even did music for the movie El Buffalo de la Noche. Oh. He got the band to perform on the score of that movie. And we're back. This is Sports Edition. This month's movie was... Sorry to bother you.
Sorry.
What do you think
bother you.
of the film?
Let's just say, if you're gonna look for this movie, you're in for a wacky, fun ride.
I hope
you're
you
gonna
like
see-
horses.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of horses in
Clip
this movie.
clop.
Like The Ring.
Not totally dissimilar.
There are a lot of horses in The Ring.
There's a horse in
There's
the
a
ring.
No, there's a lot of horses in the ring.
There's the one on the boat.
Yeah, and then the ones that she killed. Like all the ones that she killed.
Sarah, you seen Sorry to Bother You?
No, I'm actually looking it up right now.
Okay. Owen, any other thoughts about Sorry to Bother You?
Lakeith Stanfield is amazing. He's the lead in this movie.
Very good. Head
There's-
injury.
Yes, there are cameos from David Cross and Patton Oswalt.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Crews is also in this movie, and he's delightful as always. And Armie Hammer is in this movie, and he is wacko.
Just wacko.
Line from this movie: "You sidestep more than the Temptations." I give this movie an 8 out of 10. I really liked it, and I
Okay.
think it's interesting, and I think you should watch it. It's from 2018.
I did watch it. What are we watching next month? Join us next month in July as we watch...
Cats, but not the one that just came
James
out.
Gordon.
No, not
Yes,
that
please.
one. No. The,
Are buttholes in it?
No. The one that is recorded live from Broadway from the 80s. Meow.
Join us as we watch some version of Cats from the 1980s.
I think it's in the 80s.
To that, I say,
Show sucks.
Each episode, we like to highlight the up-and-coming work of a discography developing diva. Today, that is Pose Norma. Pose Norma is Sarah. You know, the person you've been listening to for about 47 minutes now. You can and should check out Pose Norma's work wherever you stream music. It is now time to Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow with Pose Norma and her track, Many, Many Moons.
Autumn glow. He goes somewhere I follow. Please know. Slow going in turns I wallow. Do you know? Road there's no secret in stone, and there's no secret that I see in your eyes. Many, many moons shine bright in your eyes. Many, many moons shine bright. Fishnet shirts, the work's got my eyes rolled way back. All the facts in my life into obsidian. Eyeliner so black it only compliments your many, many moons shine bright. Your many, many moons shine
You can hear more from Pose Norma, listen to a playlist of our favorite Mars Volta songs, visit our shop and social media pages, contact us, view our citations, and so much more by using the links in this episode's show notes.
Are we talking about Amputexture yet? And how much it sucks?
As for that next record that Omar had written, they get John Frusciante to play on every single track with the exception of Asilos Magdalena. The group puts out their third album entitled Amputexture. Omar produced this one too. It was recorded in Melbourne, Australia, El Paso, Texas, and LACA. That's Los Angeles, California. It's
What are you doing here?
8 songs long. Is that what John Frusciante said to them when they showed up? Unlike their previous 2 albums, this one doesn't have a singular storyline, but it does have a lot of really long songs. 7 of these 8 songs are over 6 minutes long.
I do not like this album. Not a fan.
Preach.
I do have to say that Viscera Eyes is like such an insanely good song. Like that song absolutely slaps. But the rest of this album, I did not like. This is definitely my least favorite album. And for the Yuck Icky song, I put here whatever the first song of Amputexture is. And I'm actually trying to figure out what that is. I found that this was really the only time, like even when I'm not interested in Mars Volta songs, like if they're not like grabbing me, like I'm still along for the ride. Like I'm still like invested, and I'm like, okay, like this is fine. But this album was one of the only times listening to this band where I specifically remembered concretely thinking, when is this song going to be done? Like, gosh, I'm so sick of this song. And I'm pretty sure I specifically thought that on the first song of this album, and it did not get better until Viscera Eyes, which Viscera Eyes is one of the songs that I've listened to for several years. That is like the standout track.
My bones never ache unless she's nearby. Where is your face?
The album comes out at number 9 on the Billboard 200. John Theodore, the drummer, is fired from / leaves the group between the album's release and the tour to promote it. Cedric said on the Dean Del Rey podcast that it was, quote, the stupidest move we ever made. At the time, he didn't seem like he was into it. I just think it came down to really poor communication skills. So this guy's like kind of accidentally kicked out of the band, and they're like, oh, we regret this right away. But they don't take him back. He's replaced by Blake Fleming, who was actually technically their very first drummer on that EP that I mentioned way back. He drums on 2 songs of that. Then that guy, Blake Fleming, is very quickly replaced by D'Antoni Parks. D'Antoni Parks left the band shortly thereafter because he was booked for other gigs, so he was replaced with one Thomas Pridgen. They were playing shows in the middle of a tour with this constant rotation. So they're trying to get this together, and like one night they have one drummer, and the next night they have a different one.
Thomas Pridgen, another monster.
Oh, I'm scared.
That guy is a legend.
They managed to complete their tour of Australia and New Zealand and the west coast of these United States with this lineup with Thomas Pridgen, the monster, on drums. In 2008, Omar put out the record Omar Rodriguez Lopez and Jeremy Michael Ward, using the recordings that he made with Jeremy Michael Ward, the now deceased and former sound manipulator of the Mars Volta. Well, speaking of albums, this is the year we get their next record that was lukewarmly received at this table, called The Bedlam and Goliath. The whole album was recorded in just 37 days. The band said that this record was inspired by a talking board. Ouija is a trademark name owned by Hasbro. Everything else is a talking board. It's like
Are you serious?
yeah, it's like Kleenex versus tissues.
Get out.
Yep. That was purchased in Jerusalem, as in that part of Israel. It depends on what account you read of this whole thing. Some say that Cedric bought it himself. Some say Omar bought it for Cedric. They would often play with this after shows to wind down. Nothing takes the edge off of playing a concert like talking to some spirits. A part of this story that is often overlooked is that Cedric stated that attached to the board were a series of poems in which 3 Muslims, a man, a woman, and her daughter, find themselves in a love triangle, which resulted in the honor killing of all 3. Omar has since said that this album was, quote, one huge metaphor for the way women are treated in Islamic society, honor killings, etc., not just a story about a Ouija board. It's meant to make you question the way things are, unquote.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This is just an example of Omar finding something that someone said and glomming onto it and making it all about him.
Oh, it sounds like it's all about
Him.
we mean.
They claim that 3 different people contacted them through the board. One of them they referred to as Goliath. Bad things happen all throughout the recording process after playing with this Ouija board. And this coincides with, according to Omar, the messages from the board becoming threatening. Blake Fleming, the drummer, quit the band mid-tour, and Cedric had to get foot surgery. Omar's Brooklyn home studio flooded multiple times. A bunch of their equipment broke and malfunctioned. The engineer for the sessions had a nervous breakdown, yet somehow no one can ever tell you who that guy was. leaving the band with what he recorded but no notes, supposedly saying to Omar, quote, "I'm not going to help you make this record. You're trying to do something very bad with this record. You're trying to make me crazy, and you're trying to make people crazy," unquote. Omar eventually broke the board, hoping to stop the misfortunes, and buried it, much like Osama bin Laden's body, in an undisclosed location. This is all reported by Omar, and he could, of course, be full of stuffing. I think he is. The experiences of this band inspired them to also make a video game called Goliath, the Soothsayer. It was available to play solely through Amazon for a short period of time. However, I found an emulator copy that you can play by following the link for it in the show notes for this episode.
Whoa, cool.
Such a sweet guy.
They only allowed 3 takes per hour so as to appreciate each one for its own unique qualities. I think that kind of actually shows in this. I think this feels like a much more deliberate sort of outing, I think, from them.
For sure. That's just funny. It's just so wholesome to me.
This album is 12 songs long. 10 are over 5 minutes long.
So this album is really probably one of my favorite albums ever. But that being said, this is not an album I can listen to a lot. So that's the thing with me. Like sometimes when an album becomes my favorite, that doesn't mean that I can listen to it all the time, but it just means that it like profoundly impacts me.
Sure. You wouldn't eat chocolate cake every meal.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. So for me, like this album is like if you want to like go hiking on your favorite mountaintop.
You wouldn't eat chocolate cake up there.
No.
Or before swimming.
And like you just like have to like travel up this mountain, but it's really beautiful and enjoyable, but it's like a lot of work. That's how I feel about this album.
It's like Parenthood.
I love almost every single song on this album. It was very, very hard for me to pick a Yummy Yummy song because almost every song on this album to me is a Yummy Yummy song.
Wow.
Like when I had to think about it, I like it literally like almost every single one of them. The only songs that I feel aren't up to par with the rest of them are Wax Simulacra and Soothsayer. Those are the only two that I still think those two are great songs, but to me they're like not up where literally every other song is. I will say my criticism of this album is it has the most annoying opening of an album I've ever heard. Now, maybe that's just because when I plug in my phone to listen to in my car, my iTunes automatically comes up and it's in alphabetical order. So Abernicula comes on with my volume all the way up and I forgot to turn it down. And it just starts with that. And I'm just like sitting there like, oh my God, it's so loud. So maybe that's why I don't like the...
Sure.
I think that it's so irritating. I wish there was a build-up. That's the only critique. That's kind of the only critique I have of this album. I will say this album also, I have a lot connected to this album emotionally. So listening to it back this time, I wanted to try to like remove how much I have connected to this album personally to make sure that I still really like it, like for what it is and not just what I have connected to it. Because I actually haven't been able to listen to this album for a few years because it's just like affects me so deeply. But no, like I just think this album is truly a masterpiece. And I would have to say probably Cavalettis is my Yummy Yummy song. I will say that.
Good answer. Good answer. Good
Thank
answer.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will say that 4-song block of Cavalettis, Agadez, Asclepios, and Ouroboros is like is like
Scipios.
insanely great. But so is like, I think Ilyana is like incredible. Goliath, I mean, like, come on. Tourniquet Man is so eerie. Like every single part of these songs is a hook. Like there's like no boring part of any song, and the songs are nice and long, but there's multiple movements to every song, and every one of those movements have like a hook to it. It just blows my mind. I like don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
And then like I'll listen to this album and I'll literally forget like what song comes next, and I'm like, oh, like it's probably just gonna be whatever. And then it comes on and I'm like, oh, this part is great. Oh, this part is great. Like it's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's one of the best feelings, listening to an album you haven't listened to in a while and rediscovering how great it is.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, this is probably my second favorite album by them, behind their debut. Yeah, it's just it's really solid. I think it's their best performance. Yeah, I love Goliath a lot, and I love Agadez, which is on this album, as I remembered.
That song Soothsayer, that is what they nicknamed the Ouija board that they were playing with. It was called the Soothsayer.
Scary.
It features recordings that Omar made while in Jerusalem of the various quarters there, as in the Jewish, Muslim, and Christian quarters. And for those of you doing math at home, that's 3 different groups. And I wanted to know what the 4th quarter was. And since I can't just chill out and accept the unknown, I delved deep into this, and it turns out that the 4th quarter of Jerusalem is the Armenian quarter, which makes up 14% of Jerusalem's space, which is also less than 1/4, but I digress. This is the oldest living diaspora outside of Armenia, and came to be after Armenia adopted Christianity in the 4th century. Basically, they got it in on the ground floor of Jerusalem, built up a huge population, and felt that they were different enough from the other Christians there that they kept their own section of the city on lock. And this is how I ended up spending an hour reading about a small piece of a city that is only tangentially related to the matter at hand. I definitely do think that whatever Ouija board thing they have going on, no matter how true or not that may be, I think it's an eerie record. And I think that's what I love about it. It's very spooky.
Yeah, I'm actually always kind of surprised that the Mars Volta doesn't end up on like those Halloween playlists.
It does
because
on
they
mine.
are extremely like eerie and occult and spooky.
Yeah.
And like genuinely so.
For sure.
You know?
And the lyrics are fun. The lyrics are so much. I think Cedric is truly a poet.
Oh, that reminds me. So Cedric has these things that I like to call Cedricisms, where he just like delivers lines that are just so comedically. And there's like so many throughout the discography. But this album has my favorite Cedricism on Goliath, which is
Humiliated my mental hygiene.
that's my favorite. And there's other ones that have come really close. But every time I hear that song and hear him say that, I always laugh because it's just so funny in a good way.
The album art was painted by one Jeff Jordan, who also did the artwork for the previous record. Amputecture used art that Jordan had already made, whereas Bedlam's art was made for the album.
This also amazing cover.
Yeah.
So cool.
I think I'd asked Sarah this question very early on. What album art do you think best embodies the music inside? And I put this up as an example.
This album cover is really striking. I'm not sure what it is that makes it so striking.
Yeah. Well, the lead off single for this album was a track called Wax Simulacra, which Sarah doesn't like.
No, it's a good song.
She hates it. And that came out with, as a B-side, a cover of Susie and the Banshees' Pulled to Bits.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dope.
It turns out that there was almost an entire extra album's worth of B-sides from this album, including covers of Pink Floyd's Candy and Currant Buns, as well as Birthday by the Sugar Cubes.
I was just about to ask about that
Really?
one.
And Back Up Against the Wall by Circle Jerks.
Your birthday.
Two Bjorks in one room?
She licks his beard. She's painting with spoons and strikes them together.
I'm really impressed you know that many lyrics.
See, now I've only heard that song in Icelandic.
Okay.
And the first time I ever heard it in English was this cover.
Oh, all right.
Was the Mars Volta covering it. And I was going to ask it at some point during this podcast
You
where
don't gotta ask.
where that
I'm gonna
piece
tell.
might-
Don't ask, I'll tell.
I love that song.
I just gotta say,
song
the
rules.
listeners are not able to see this, but we are presently in a very dark room with nothing but a candle, and I just had to watch Owen sing as Bjork. Acapella.
This might be my best performance yet. I've done so many good impressions
Oh,
today.
God.
She's painting with books and moves them together. This open raven, go down his steps down.
This album hits number 3 on the Billboard 200.
This album does?
Yeah,
If it's number 3,
number 3.
well, it
That's
should.
insane.
That's in the top 3.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it.
2000.
Suck it, Ambidextrous.
Well, they are nominated for a Grammy in 2009
Oh.
for Best Hard Rock Performance for their single Wax Simulacra.
Whack.
They somehow beat out Disturbed's Inside the Fire, as well as Motley Crue's Saints of Los Angeles.
Ah.
Rob Zombie and Judas Priest were also up for the award, but they're good, so I'm not going to dunk on them.
Yeah.
Motley Crue sucks.
While
In my
accepting
opinion.
the award, Cedric gave a shout out to Lux Interior from the Cramps.
Hell yeah.
As well as Ron Ashton, who's the bassist of the Stooges, who died that year in 2009.
Lux Interior died that year?
2009, yeah.
Oh, so sad.
And I mean, this is February, so he died like within a month. The Mars Volta put out their 5th record, Octahedron, in June. This always messes with me because the oct prefix always makes me think it's their 8th record. It's not. Omar
Octopus
claimed
in the
Omar claimed that this album was already recorded for a while and that the next album after it was also recorded by this time. I also think Omar's full of it. He said that working on Octahedron kept him grounded through all the wild things that supposedly happened during the making of Bedlam and Goliath. Cedric said that they, quote, wanted to make the opposite of all the records we've done. All along, we threatened people that we'd make a pop record, and now we have, end quote. They haven't. This is not a pop record.
well,
Yeah, nowhere.
there are qualities of it that are definitely more pop-like. I actually wrote that down in my notes.
Sure, that is very different from making a pop record.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Omar disagrees entirely because he's a contrarian and insufferable. And he says, quote, I consider it to be our acoustic album. We know how people can be so linear in their way of thinking. So when they hear the new album, they're going to say, this is not an acoustic album. There's electricity throughout it. Because apparently Ben Franklin is reviewing their album. But it's our version. That's what our band does. Celebrate mutations. It's our version of what we consider to be an acoustic album. I would just like to point out that words mean things. And when you say something's an acoustic album, that does mean something. And it doesn't make it one just because you said it is.
Wait, are you still Armar?
No, that's just me dunking on an armoire.
Armoire.
Can I just play this real quick?
Sure.
This is, again, from their acoustic album. I mean, it's just like John Denver, isn't it?
What song is that?
Cotopaxi.
That's what I thought. I put that down in my standout tracks.
They record the whole album in just 3 weeks in Brooklyn. Omar does the same thing he did on the last record, where he worked on each musician's part with them without letting them hear the other parts. He said he wouldn't do this again, though. And then he does it again on the following record because, again, he's a liar. Lyrically, there is no central narrative, but a lot of the lyrics are about kidnappings and people vanishing. With Twilight as my guide, which is what today's game was inspired by, it's set in the Salem witch trials.
Oh.
This song was covered by opera singer Renee Fleming on her record Dark Hope.
Where he keeps them in a vault of devil daughter.
When I bend in kicking form, with twilight as my guide, in every home the ghost fiends gossip. You can hear them if you try. When my quill begins to squirm from the ashes in your eye, your deviance is anything but faithful. My devil makes me dream like no other mortal dream.
They came up with a clever marketing ploy for this record for people who signed up to the Mars Volta newsletter. If you followed the link that was sent to you and put in one of their 4 previously released records into the disk tray of your computer that shows you what time period this was made, it would automatically play one of the 4 new tracks from the upcoming album for you.
Cool.
This album cover looks like all of the ELO album covers, like
In
meshed
one.
into one.
Oh my God.
Pretty good.
I love that.
It's 9 songs long, 6 are over 5 minutes long. I found it pretty boring. Didn't feel as passionate as their previous records.
Yeah, I mean, so I love the album art a lot. It's really, really pretty. I thought that this was more poppy. I thought that Cedric holds his words for longer as he's singing, which made me realize just how wordy most Mars Volta songs are. They're so wordy.
Yeah.
And the way he sings is like just multiple words at once, you know, like, but for this one of these songs, like it's so like, it just gets held out for so long and it's so not like him. It was like, wow, shit. Like that's so like, I haven't heard anything like this from this band so far. And that's what most people do. Like, you know, most bands aren't so wordy, but, yeah, I didn't think this album was really anything special. I did like Cotopaxi. I said that song sounded a lot like old Mars Volta, but a little bit more polished, without the grit, which I didn't mean that as a compliment. Like that to me is not a good thing. Although I did write Luciforms. Like I liked how Luciforms was mixed, particularly. I thought it sounded more gritty. Like something like how the drums were mixed. I don't know, but I liked Luciforms on this and thought it was probably like the coolest song, along with Cotopaxi. But other than that, meh.
Yeah, this album was, to me, one of the more boring of theirs. Just, yeah, it was all right. I liked Since We've Been Wrong.
Like Kelly Clarkson since
we've been
you've-
wrong.
It has like a sweet music video. I also believe it's this album with the music video of the band is like you are being performed on like surgery by the band, and they're like smoking weed as they're like pulling your guts out and stuff.
This is a music video?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty. They pull out like a bunch of crazy, wacky stuff. But anyway,
Whoopee cushions.
this podcast sucks.
It's just a lot of whoopee cushions.
Just a whole lot of whoopee cushions, whole lot of fart noises.
Love that Led Zeppelin song.
What a whole lot of whoopee cushions.
Copernicus brings dubstep beats in around the 4-minute mark. That's pretty interesting for them. That's different.
Yeah.
I think it's their worst album.
Graffiti.
I would also say this is my least favorite album of them.
Wow.
And I would give it like a 3.
This comes out at 12 on the Billboard 200. Omar fires or asks them to depart 2 different band members. Adrian Terrazas Gonzalez, who had been playing wind instruments with the band for years, as well as Paul Hinojos, the gentleman who was on rhythm guitar, who was in Sparta and at the drive-in with them. The band goes on tour, and at last, on their final show of the North American tour in Raleigh, North Carolina on October 23rd, Cedric and their drummer, Thomas Pridgeon, get into a big fight, and Thomas leaves. They have to cancel the show, and the Mars Volta did the very mature thing by going on Facebook and blaming it all on Thomas.
Are you serious?
And saying that he's not in the band anymore.
That's such a low blow.
In 2011, Thomas was asked about this by Backbeat, a Denver-based music blog, and Thomas states, quote, "I left because the singer had a jealous ego trip. There's nothing more to elaborate on." He then goes on to elaborate, quote, "Mars Volta was a good experience, and now I'm totally just putting all that behind me. I don't feel the need to get personal about the relationship I had with them," end quote. If that feels vague, it's because it is. And it was clarified a few years later by Juan Alderte, their bassist, in a Reddit Ask Me Anything, that, quote, "Thomas got really drunk, did some bad things, and did some real damage to the trust we all had with him," end quote. He is eventually replaced by a drummer named DeAnthony Parks, who was the drummer for a couple seconds in the band. And he was also the drummer for a group from New York called KUDU, Kudu, and also worked as a composer for various TV and film scores. Omar says that he wrote another new album, and passive-aggressively says that Omar claims that he had an entire album written and that it was all Cedric's fault that we weren't getting it because he said Cedric didn't do the vocals on it.
Got it.
And then he just leaves and starts working on his side project and tours all over the world without the Mars Volta. Then Cedric starts singing on that solo stuff for Omar on tour with him, and that tour just becomes a Mars Volta tour.
Nice.
On which they open for musical greats like Soundgarden and musical ain'ts like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It should be noted that Ike Owens wasn't on this tour and seemed to know, quote, absolutely nothing, end quote, of a new album and the tour. He said, quote, "I haven't played on it. I don't know if I'm going to play on it. I have no idea," end quote. He was replaced by a bloke named Lars Staufors. What they were playing live at these shows was basically just what would become their next album, more or less in its entirety. In 2012, one of the first opportunities to hear a new song from this record was on MLB 12, the show's soundtrack. It's a video game. Baseball video game.
Awesome.
Oh,
game.
cool.
The album, entitled Nocturnicate, was their first in 3 years, and it finally comes out on March 26th. Why did it take 3 years? Because Omar and Cedric were fighting. Omar said, quote, "He and I have had very few arguments after 20 years of being friends, and we sort of got into this argument. He didn't like me being on top of him like I usually am, wink, wink.
Ayo.
So I said, okay, well, you have the record in your hands. When you're ready, you call me and we'll do it. And a year went by. 2 years went by." End quote. It was the first record without John Frusciante. Omar produced it again, of course.
Oh, thank you.
This is a return to the concept album approach. This record is inspired by two things: the Greek myth of Hyacinthus and the Old English nursery rhyme Solomon Grundy. Hyacinthus, if you don't know, I certainly didn't, was a beautiful prince who the sun god Apollo fell in love with. Apollo was playing a game of discus, and Hyacinthus decided to do this cool, gnarly move and catch the discus that Apollo threw to impress him, which he probably did, providing Apollo was impressed by guys who died by getting their inside sliced open by a discus. His blood poured into the ground, and refusing to allow Hades to have hyacinthus in the afterlife, Apollo made him into the hyacinth flower.
Wow.
Of which we have 3.
That's pleasant.
There. They're toxic to cats. Keep them away. Solomon Grundy is a poem first published in 1842 in England, and I can recite the entirety of it for you because it's very short. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took ill on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the end of Solomon Grundy.
Wow.
The fact that this is a children's nursery rhyme tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the British. I love that they moved into this direction, even if I didn't love the record. I only really liked a handful of these songs, but most of them I would rank as close but no cigar, which means I like them, but not enough to make them a notable track. They just never really commit to any of the hooks or the pop sensibilities they came so close to embracing on this one.
I thought there were some cool ideas and like moments, but I wasn't really compelled. I like the whip hand.
Swatting flies in the Vaseline, and I'm not getting any better in this plot of dormant wakes. The thorns beside the speak serrated from the figure of an
I actually quite liked this album. I wrote a lot on the standout tracks. I wrote a lot of things. I wrote first track cool, dyslexicon cool, Malk and Jewel different, and I appreciate the change like kind of bluesy. Oh, also great Cedricisms. Got it. Liked Imago, cool vibe, trinkets of the pale moon. So those are my very disjointed notes.
Which you read kind of in the cadence of Cedric.
Yeah.
Also great Cedricisms like Imago cool.
Trinkets of a Pale Moon I actually have listened to multiple times. I really liked that song. And I like just the vibe of this album is kind of soft and eerie. And a lot of Mars Volta songs and albums are eerie. Like that's nothing new, but it's like they toned it down with all of the instruments punching you at the face, like in the face at once, and instead made it kind of like a little more chill. But I don't know. I liked it. I would listen to this album again.
Yeah. This was a surprise for me because I don't think I heard a single song off of this prior to listening to it for the show.
Same. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I found myself enjoying a lot of it.
Yeah.
And with these trinkets, pale moons, and there's a chance become a bludgeon of wrinkles when I miss your time. For every time you hear this string of lullabies collapsing, walk towards the echo, let it hold your trembling. Their gourds are punctured easily. Amnesia fumes in little twists of
This record comes out at 15 on the Billboard 200. Still very respectable. This is, again, 2012. Alongside the release of this album, Cedric and Omar resurrect at the Drive-In and play a string of shows as that band, including Coachella and Lollapalooza. And then the Mars Volta breaks up. This initially started as a hiatus, but Omar and Cedric really got into it, and that led to a formal end of the band. Right away, Omar starts a new band called Bosnian Rainbows. I had no knowledge of this band at all, which makes some sense as they only existed for a year. In that year, they got one album out. It's self-titled. Omar said that, quote, "These are very much shorter, more to-the-point songs," which compared to Mars Volta songs means absolutely nothing. Most songs are shorter than infinity.
crumbling and shattering is deep. You call your lover's name in your black sleep. It hurts like hell, but I know this too well. You yearn for more, my turtleneck for something
Cedric, not to be outdone, also started a new band called Zavalaz. He takes Juan Alderte, the bassist from the Mars Volta, along with him, and they start working on an album. It has been over a decade, and it has not been released.
Oh, really?
It was around this time that Cedric said that he and Omar were, quote, currently not on speaking terms, and that, quote, the falling out had been 4 years in the making, so the final announcement on my part was really just to let the children know that mom and dad were splitting up.
Is that what he said? That's very funny.
Cedric at this time also joins the Church of Scientology, which did not help the relationship between he and Omar. More on that to come.
Ooh, exciting.
2014, but alas, because they're in love, they couldn't stay apart. Internet sleuths and fans of the Mars Volta on a fan page called The Comatorium, which is a treasure trove. If you're listening to this, you probably already are a member of that message group. But if you're not, amazing work on there. These folks live and die for the Mars Volta. They circulated rumors that Omar and Cedric were meeting up again. This seemed to be confirmed when Cedric's wife, Chrissy, posted a photo of Omar hanging out with Cedric and the two of them holding Cedric and Chrissy's twin baby boys.
Aww.
Yeah. Omar and Cedric patched things up and started a new band, because why not, called Anti-Mask. This is something of a supergroup, as at various times in the 1 year history of the band, they dissolved in 2015, the lineup has included, of course,
Let me guess.
Flea. Yep. You can't get rid of him. As well as Travis Barker from Blink-182 and Omar's other brother, Marfrid.
Wow.
This is not Marcel. This is Marfrid.
What a name.
Look through the curtain, but no sign of life. She's almost knocking over all the secret she hides. And silently sweeps it all under the rug. How many times have I heard that sound? The hair on the back of my neck stands tall. Everybody slowly starts closing the blinds. Am I the only one who can recognize? I hope I never become hell, stuck behind the morning light.
They also put out one album, it's self-titled. There was talk of a new record entitled Saddle on the Atom Bomb, but as of now, a decade later, we've still got nothing.
Boo.
At the Drive-In continued to tour at this time, but notably without Jim Ward, one of the founders, and of course Jeremy Ward's cousin. Isaiah Owens, Ike, passed away in a hotel room in Puebla, Mexico while on tour with Jack White. The remainder of the Mexican tour was canceled. A representative, Jack White, said that Owens passed away as a result of a heart attack. He was 39 years old.
Damn.
In 2017, At the Drive-In put out their long-awaited album after nearly 2 decades called IN, this is all lowercase, by the way, period, TER, period, A, period, LI, period, A. Inter alia.
Oh.
They went on hiatus the following year. Serves them right. You shouldn't name your album that.
But yeah, who are you, Grimes and Elon Musk naming their child?
Oh, man. 2019, Omar and Cedric began recording their next album under the cloak of secrecy called imaginatively The Mars Volta. Omar rents a house in Los Angeles for 10 days and they record in there. Cedric ended up tweeting that a new album, quote, is happening. One of the most bizarre twists of the story, in 2020, on July 21st, Kanye West tweets, The Mars Volta, we need to finish the album. That's it. And it's verbatim that. The Mars Volta, we need to finish the album.
Kanye's a Mars Volta fan?
Well, this led to people believing that they were working together.
Sure.
The band told NME definitively, quote, no, we're not working with him. We've never even met him. But I think him doing that shows how I really can't pinpoint who a Mars Volta fan is.
That's not surprising to me. I mean, again, like Kanye West modeling his one album after Portishead. It doesn't surprise me now that he would be a Mars Volta fan.
That's true.
A Scientologist and a Nazi apologist walk into a recording studio.
I agree. It's not a surprise to me that he likes the Mars Volta. It is a surprise to me that he is so dialed in that he knows that there is an album that has been announced but hasn't been completed, and that he is peer pressuring them to finish their album.
That's good stuff.
That's wild.
That's what Twitter was meant for. Was that kind of interaction?
You're so right. In 2022, at long last, 1 decade since Noctourniquet, the album is ready for release. Omar and Cedric are, of course, in the band, and so is Omar's brother Marcel, not Marfred. Marcel is playing keyboards and percussion, but familiar face Ava Gardner is back on bass, and newcomer Willie Rodriguez Quinones is on the drums. He's a Puerto Rican drummer who went to Berklee College of Music. Slacker.
Big.
And has since then worked with Mon Laferte, who I love, as well as Domino Saints. He is replaced by Linda Philomene Sugoni on the subsequent tour. Leo Genovese, a jazz pianist, also joins the band for the album, but stays on the tour as well. About the elephant in the room, you know, the whole breakup thing, Cedric said to the New York Times, quote, "I was in a really impatient place when I left the band, very immaturely in a loud way on social media. I was just sort of being a brat," end quote.
Oh, well, you got to respect a man who owns up to his mistakes.
For sure. Omar did not.
Shocker.
Many of the lyrics on the album, such as those of Incurably Innocent, have to do with Chrissy Carnell Bixler, Cedric's wife, accusing actor Danny Masterson, who played Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show,
Fellow Scientologist.
of rape, and that on his behalf, other members of the Church of Scientology engaged in a practice known within the church as fair game, which involves, quote, stalking, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress against her and 3 other women throughout 2017 and 2018. Each of these women were declared a, quote, suppressive person, end quote, by the Church of Scientology and kicked out of the church, which prohibits reporting any other members of the church to the police ever. In addition to the criminal charges, these women also filed a civil suit for harassment against the Church of Scientology after one of Cedric and Chrissy's dogs were killed and the other was poisoned with rat poison hidden in some raw meat, which led to them having to euthanize the dog, and others having been stalked, filmed, photographed, and chased in their cars, as well as harassed online, and the church posting ads online using their names and images soliciting sex. The civil case was put on hold until the criminal case was finished. In 2020, Masterson was formally charged with raping 1 woman in 2001 and 2 women in 2003. A mistrial was declared in 2022 after a deadlocked jury, which leaned towards acquittal. A retrial was held in April and May of 2023, where Masterson was convicted on 2 of 3 counts of forcible rape. He has been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison, but is eligible for parole after 25.5 years. His lawyers have announced that they will attempt to appeal the conviction. They attempted this in January of 2024, and the judge denied the motion, citing Masterson as a flight risk. Masterson now lives in the California men's colony as of April 2025.
I just want to say that if someone poisoned my animal, like if someone poisoned my pets and I found out who they were, I think I would actually kill them. Well, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Glad that he's rotting away in jail.
Uh-huh. For, a minimum of 25.5 years.
Good.
Which would, he'll be into his 60s, if not 70s at that point. Again, these are all the allegations that have been made and the outcome in court. Well, time for something totally different. This new record is the Mars Volta doing yacht rock. It's pretty neat.
I wouldn't say this is totally yacht rock.
No, but it's a hell of a lot closer than their pop acoustic album was to being pop or acoustic. Omar said, quote, "We're in our mid to late 40s, and you can't just still be doing the same shit, expecting to wear an old t-shirt that doesn't fit anymore. It's 14 songs long and only 2 are over 4 minutes. Hell yeah, baby." I'm all about it. Probably the fewest musicians they've ever used on an album as well.
I liked the next album, which is, an acoustic version of this album. So
a
much.
real acoustic version.
Right. So much more than this one that I kind of don't really care about this album because I like the acoustic version of it so much more. So I don't even really know what to say about this one.
Okay.
Because all of my notes are based off of the acoustic version.
Sure.
I listened to this and was like, okay. And then I listened to the acoustic one and, well, I don't want to say what I think about that until we get to that one.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, cool.
I like this a lot. I like Graveyard Love. I love Palm Full of Crux. Sometime hearing Cedric in this kind of like environment. His voice reminds me a lot of Passion Pit. Like in kind of
yeah.
the way he uses it, and I didn't really hear that until it was in this context. Yeah, I give it a 6.5.
All right.
I like it a lot.
Right.
I can't return to you. It's just the fair. Is this just the fair? Not knowing if you're there. If you're there. Could never fathom how to wake you up. Crushed by the weight of your crucible. You better walk behind me. Walk behind.
Well, this album hits 83 on the Billboard 200 and 10 on the US Indie chart. This album and the band's reunion were announced on June 19th of 2022 when they placed a, quote, mysterious cube in Grand Park, Los Angeles. This was part of, quote, an audio-visual art installation, end quote, meant to communicate the band was back, which they did by having visitors go inside this giant cube where they were showed a recreation of outer space and blasted their new song, Blacklight Shine. The following year, they put out their next and to date last album entitled Que Dios te maldiga mi corazón, which is an acoustic version, as Sarah said, of the previous album. That translates to something like May God curse you, my heart, but I've also seen May God damn you, sweetheart.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
This is my favorite album by them.
Are you serious?
I think it's great. Yeah.
Wow.
Palm Full of Crux
That's
is
neat.
also my Yummy Yummy song. I love the
Wow.
devastating feel, and I think that when you strip this band back and you just let them have some keyboard, drums, flute, they will show you how good they are as songwriters. And I think these vocals are truly beautiful. I think Cedric's vocals really shine on this album because he has really nothing to compete with. I think this is a brilliant record, and as you said, it really does outshine its predecessor.
Please belong. I don't remember how, I don't remember when. Please belong. Don't remember how, I can't remember when. Is it you outside, holding depth, charged truth? In a broken way, till we meet again, always.
I also think Cedric's voice is devastatingly beautiful in this album. His voice is always incredible. Like, that's like, his voice is just shines in every single album, but it sounds so like emotional in this album.
Super vulnerable.
Yeah, but while still like still going for it in the way that he does in like some of their best work.
Yeah.
I liked Graveyard Love as well. I think I liked Shore Story as well. To be honest, I really liked this whole album. This is an album that if I was just driving on like a cloudy day and needed like something a little more calm, I would, this is going to be on my rotation now.
Nice.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one just as much as the last one, as it's I like the acoustic just as much as the regular. Yeah, 6.5. I like it.
In 2024, the band's history was cataloged in the documentary entitled Omar and Cedric, If This Ever Gets Weird. This was shown at film festivals around the world. In 2025, we are absolutely excellent at putting out an episode about a band or artist, only to have that band or artist put out a new album immediately after, thus rendering our episode obsolete. I expected that this would be the case because on February 25th, it was discovered that the band was playing completely new songs live, which fans on the Comatorium believed was material from a forthcoming album. And that appears to have been confirmed that within about a month, we're going to have a new Mars Volta album.
Well, apparently in 3 days.
Yeah, in just a few days, we will have a new Mars Volta album.
Lucro sucio, los ojos de vacío. Is that how you say that?
Sure.
Oh, that's how I'm saying it. Sorry if it sucks.
My bad.
And as of now, until 3 days from now, that's the Mars Volta.
I love this band. I've never really heard anything quite like them. I think they stand out, in my opinion. A lot of their stuff does. And I'm really glad that I finally got to do a deep dive onto them. And I was very open-minded to the possibility of the Bedlam and Goliath being unearthed. I should say replaced as my favorite album by them. But that did not happen. Bedlam and Goliath is still, if anything, this actually reinforced my appreciation of Bedlam and Goliath. I'm glad we did this. It was good. Well, before we wrap up, can everybody do their favorite Cedricisms? Is that Abernicula? Is that Abernicula?
He took mine.
Damn it.
Do yours?
No, I already did mine.
Yeah, do it again.
I gotta think of a different one that isn't triggering. Because one of my other favorite Cedricisms I said to someone once, and they were very, it was not a good moment of mine.
Oh.
It was, and they told me that they had a miscarriage, and then I felt like a absolute asshole. And so I don't sing that one anymore. That's a true story. I felt awful.
Who was that?
Some person at the radio station. I was so stupid.
Hi, you're on the Deep Dive Divas. New Mars Volta record. How do you like it?
Oh, I like it. I think it's very atmospheric. I think it's pretty chill. I think it obviously is more on the side of their newer stuff. Like, it's not like they're reverting back to like their old super, rock crazy progressive sound. They're kind of leaning into their more chill stuff, which I know
They're
you
old
like
boys
better.
now. They're old boys, and they're doing old boy things and having a rest.
Yeah, they're mellowing out.
Mm-hmm.
They're mellowing out, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think they'll
that
be
if
dead soon.
Yeah, I think that if anybody expects them to sound like they did, 20 years ago, I think that is kind of their own problem.
That's your problem, man.
Yeah.
Get over
but
yourself.
I like it, though. I mean, I don't have too much to say about it. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking, but I think it's cool. What do you think about it?
I love it. I put on some mood lighting in my room, and I laid down and I listened to it at night, and it was perfect for that.
Well, that sounds very nice.
Yeah, this would be a good album to listen to while you're cooking or doing the dishes or walking the dog or putting on some mood lighting and laying in your bed.
For some reason, I think if the Mars Volta heard you say that, I think they'd be very upset.
I think they would feel that way about anything we've said in this episode.